Have you ever wanted to start your own recruiting business but didn't know where to begin? Throughout this video, I'll share with you a step-by-step process of how I started my recruiting business in 2016 and what I've learned along the way. Just a quick intro of myself. I began recruiting in 2012 for one of the larger international recruiting agencies where I learned the ins and outs of recruiting and became an expert in the specific industry I focus on. After about 4 years, I went to work for one of my clients doing internal recruiting before launching my own business in 2017. To start, I thought of my company name. I ran several ideas by friends and trusted professional contacts for their opinions. I also kept checking the name against available website domains, so I knew I wouldn't have a problem registering a site under a specific name. After that, you'll have to choose what type of business you're setting up: sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, or LLC, and register your business. This varies state by state, but the outline can easily be found on your state's website. You can also use an attorney or LegalZoom to help out with registering. I used LegalZoom just to ensure it was done correctly. Once your company is registered, you'll want to set up a bank account. You can open a separate business account with your personal bank or shop around for the best deals and incentives. You'll also want to speak with the bank about retirement account options they have for small businesses. I also applied for a company credit card to start building points as I made purchases for the business. Again, you'll want to shop around for the best incentives that fit your needs. You'll want to hold off on applying for credit cards until you're ready to start making significant purchases so you can hit their spending amount to receive the promotion. At some point early in the process, you'll want to think about a website, email, and logo. There are various website hosting services like GoDaddy where you can purchase a website domain as well as build your site. For email, the two main options are Outlook and Gmail. I went with Google because they offered more plugin options. However, they're web-based, so if you prefer a desktop application, then Outlook is a better option for you. For a logo, I used Fiverr.com and found a good graphic designer that was able to interpret my ideas into a logo. An important part of setting up your company is the services agreement, which is fairly easy. You can pay a lawyer to create one for you, roll the dice with AI, or go over to the ASA website, americanstaffing.net, where they have sample contract templates under the Resource tab. I brought the ASA template to an attorney to customize it for me. Now, let's talk about some software subscriptions that are going to make your life easier. First is the obvious choice, LinkedIn. It's really tough to be a recruiter nowadays without a LinkedIn subscription. They offer a few different tiers, and you receive a bulk pricing discount after purchasing 3 seats. A little tip: I have a friend who also started her own business, and we're on the same LinkedIn contract, so we receive a bulk pricing discount. It seems like a fairly common practice, as they actually have a system in place, so we have 2 separate dashboards under the same contract, and our staff don't even realize we share a LinkedIn contract with another company. Another common software you'll want to look into is an ATS. There are plenty of options out there, from startups to large legacy companies that have been in the ATS market for decades. Some ATSs are focused more on in-house, while others are geared towards agencies. The companies that focus their product towards agencies will be better, as they incorporate other things you need in their product, such as the back office and billing components, as well as acting as a dual ATS and CRM. Depending on your area of focus, you may be able to get away with only using LinkedIn as your ATS. What I didn't like about this was their search functionality didn't include resumes and notes, but only profiles. There are several options when it comes to choosing an ATS, and I'll probably end up doing a whole separate video on this, but for now, I'll offer these 3 tips. First, there are several ATSs that offer you a free subscription up to a certain amount of candidate profiles. Second, a common trend now is that ATSs offer a split network option, meaning other agencies also on their platform can push their recs out to the network to get help with recruiting. This can be extremely helpful when starting out, as you'll have access to receiving help closing your recs, as well as the opportunity to close some deals others bring in while you're building up your customer base. The third is sharing a mistake I made. I went with a cheaper ATS when I first started my business to save money. It didn't have all the plugins I needed to use with other software, and I ended up switching to one of the larger, more common ATS platforms. I had to pay to migrate all my data, which negated any savings I received from using the cheaper option first. Plus, as we know, no matter how well a data migration goes, it's never 100% accurate. Another service getting more popular are email campaign platforms. If you're not familiar, I'd highly recommend checking them out. It makes both BD and candidate sourcing automated and much easier. I tried a few over the years and am currently using Sourcewell. Other software you'll want to look into are things like accounting and bookkeeping. When I first started, I would email invoices I made using Excel and then do all invoice tracking on a whiteboard. It was highly inefficient. I signed up for QuickBooks and it's made life much easier. Not just from a tracking perspective, but you also link your credit card and bank account so it's all synced for you in real time, making your accounting much easier. Another huge impact was being able to accept payments online, which has made getting paid much quicker than waiting for a check in the mail. There are several other software options that can make your life easier, but in the beginning, I would suggest just focusing on the ones that have an ROI. Similar to QuickBooks making getting paid easier, a software like DocuSign makes getting contracts in place much faster. Something else to consider, if you're going to offer temp staffing services, you'll need back office help. There are a lot of payroll companies that specialize in servicing smaller staffing agencies. Typically, they charge around a 30% burden per placement. They take on the employer of record, offering their own benefits package, time card collections, and all other supportive services needed when offering temp services as an option. After getting all the back-end stuff set up, the first thing I did was export all my LinkedIn contacts and sent out a newsletter using MailChimp announcing my new company. So that's it. Pretty easy, right? Look, it can be scary going off on your own, but you just watched a video outlining how to do it, so I guess the first step is done. I'd be lying to you if I told you it's been nothing but closing deals and having fun, but the stress is very different than what you're used to working for someone else. Here's how I looked at everything. I was tired of working hard to make someone else rich. For every placement, I only received about 20% of the profit I brought in the door. Why does the company get to keep that other 80%? I bet if you break down how many placements you'll need to make in a year to have the same level of income keeping 100% of the commissions, you'd be surprised. And if you only stick to the software subscriptions you absolutely need, it should cost you less than $10,000 a year to run your business. I'll leave you with this thought. Do not fear failure, but rather fear not trying. What got me over the hump was the thought of going through life always wondering what if. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out the links in the description for the list of products I use in my business. Also, subscribe as I release more videos talking about things like mistakes I made along the way, tips and tricks for success, in-house versus agency recruiting, different recruiting solutions to offer, and several more.